Yo, what's good, Unfathomable? I'm your guide, Q. Welcome to this AskReddit thread. I actually saw this pop up on my YouTube homepage of like some Reddit text-to-speech channel covering this thread, but I'm gonna cover it anyway. I do not care. Girls of Reddit, what makes a guy creepy? This is just right up my alley, so let's get into it. Maybe we'll get some tips. Alright, so let's go through some of these responses. No self-awareness or notion of personal boundaries, like when guys follow you around public places or follow you home intentionally and don't seem to understand what's really unsettling about that. I don't know if it's because I live in a big city, but this is surprisingly common. I've never once noticed a person following me around in public, so let me know if this is a common experience or not, but this is actually terrifying. Like, that is so scary to think about. Constant, uninterrupted staring, or when they get way too close to you when talking and kinda hover over top of you. Edit, I do not mean accidental eye contact. Eye contact when speaking or passive looking. When you're daydreaming and don't actually perceive anything. This one, like, seems obvious, but people might just, like, misunderstand what qualifies as staring, or if people notice when you're staring at them, and 100% they do. In general, staring is just, like, rude. I've been taught that from a young age, but in certain contexts, it can definitely be, like, creepy, intimidating, threatening. Like, just keep an eye of how long you're looking at someone for. Telling me personal things about myself. I had a guy at my old job mention that I took a different route to work one morning. Then he said a mix of letters and numbers. When I asked what that meant, he said, "That's your license plate, right?" Another time he was standing behind me at the time clock and said my clock-in code before I entered it. Also, he cornered me in a room and tried to kiss me. It was so awkward because his wife was my supervisor and I was his supervisor. I was the nurse and he was the CNA. On top of that, I was the new nurse and not at all comfortable in my role yet. I ended up telling my coworkers to keep us apart and make sure he didn't follow me into the rooms after that last part. Very creepy. Alright, so it sounds like this person specifically is just a completely different breed of creep. But yeah, in general, like, you might think it's a good idea to, like, learn things about somebody and then, like, pull out that info at some point. Like, I don't know why you would think that's a good idea, but I feel like maybe television and media had a part in that. But don't do that. It almost always comes up as creepy. Just learn things organically from talking to the person, and then the fact that you remembered might come off as, like, sweet or cool. When a guy won't give you your space even when you implicitly or explicitly make it clear that you want your space. Without giving too many details, when I was younger, this sweet guy became creepy to me because he wouldn't leave me alone even though I said I wanted time to myself. If they can't respect your boundaries, get out and fast. For context, this happened when we were kids, but it still applies. I told the guy outright to leave me alone, at first saying, "I want to be alone for now." Eventually, I told him to just leave me alone outright, and it took more dodging on my part for him to get the message. I get that he was a lonely kid, but this made him go from sweet but lonely kid to kid I was trying to avoid. This, like, is borderline sad creepy to me, because this situation sounds creepy, and it can definitely be creepy in general, but I feel like in some situations this could just be a byproduct from, like, never having a friend or never being close to anyone, and then, like, getting someone in your life and just latching onto them way too hard. But it's definitely, if people can't respect your boundaries, red flag, red flag, red flag, and if they don't respond well after the first time or second time you ask for space, maybe it's time to cut them out entirely. When you can tell that they don't look at you like a person, but like a conquest. I have this guy at work who's a little weird, but every time he talks to me, it's like his preconceptions of who I am and what I think are all he sees. It's annoying. I feel like this actually happens relatively commonly with people that have crushes on someone, and they don't know that person very well. Like, they will just, like, see this person whose appearance they probably like, and then, like, project whatever their, like, ideal for a partner would be onto this person, and just, like, not even allow their personality to exist. So definitely watch out for yourself doing this. When, if you don't immediately reply, he gets sad or needs something from you or texts frowny face to make you feel bad. Speaking from personal experience. This is actually something I used to personally do as a much younger person, like 13 or 14, and it might seem normal to do it as a young person or a person that just like hasn't learned yet, to just say how you're feeling, that they didn't respond to you quickly or send a frowny face or whatever bullshit, but it is like low-key, slightly, at least slightly manipulative, because you're like trying to make this person feel bad for not responding, and it's never worth it, in my opinion. Saying things like women like this and women don't like this, as if we're a hive mind and you happen to know women's experiences better than them. I automatically assume that you will get angry at me or start yelling or creeping if I breathe wrong and cause a ruckus in public if I tell you to leave me alone. Listen, I won't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lad if you don't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lass. It's complex, it varies per person, and if you have trouble getting in with the entirety of a group of people of the same sex, it's totally on you. I'm a dude, so obviously my opinion is varied on this one, but haven't really had a creepy experience with this, but I feel like every guy that I've known who, like, pretended to, like, really get women and, like, know the tricks of the trade and, like, what women are like and, like, this and that, like, they've all been, like, vastly off base every time they've talked about it. When a guy is pushy, flirting, whatever, but it bugs me when I'm having a good conversation and then the guy is suddenly trying to meet up or is trying to get nudes, like, fuck off. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people have a problem with this, like just going from 0 to 100 out of nowhere. It's like, do it gradually, ease into it, try and eventually change the topic naturally. Like, there's a finesse to do this that does not make it come off as creepy, but anytime you switch out of nowhere or like immediately get that one-track mind going, it's gonna come off poorly. Alright, this person's got a little list. If you don't know them, staring at you for too long, trying to hold your hand, insisting on showing you something or taking you somewhere, big red flag, laying their hands on you, like not accidentally, on your belly, back, close to private parts, yeah, that's fucking ugh. Still flirting or trying at least after you've rejected them, /declined, /told them you have a boyfriend, bonus points if they keep trying if you are a lesbian, and just told them that you literally have a girlfriend. Edit. Change touching you to laying their hands on you because some people don't understand the line between a pat/tap on the shoulder and touching you in a creepy way when you don't know them. I think this is a really good list, especially the insisting on showing you something or taking you somewhere, because that would just, like, I would be like, I'm about to be serial killed by somebody. Like, I'm about to be in a true crime documentary if somebody said that shit to me. So, like, unless you know the person well and you're, like, good friends and you're like, oh, let's check out the pizza place or whatever. I don't know a good example, but, like, if you don't know them, bad idea. Developing feelings too quickly. I understand what it's like to be a person who falls hard for people, but there's a line. Like when you're talking to someone on a dating website, you've only exchanged 3 messages and the guy says he loves you. That are the guys who give you shoulder rubs. No, random man, I don't want you to touch me. The shoulder rub guy is just the worst. If you don't like if you're just doing that out of, please stop doing that. As far as the developing feelings too quickly or, like, admitting love after 3 messages, like, I totally feel that. I fall hard for people, but, like, something I've learned getting older is that you just have to recognize that any, like, sparks, fun you're feeling in your tummy for this person, it's just that new excitement of meeting someone and having a crush on them. Do not play your hand too quickly or just, like, say things that you shouldn't. Like, play it cool if you're the person that falls hard for people. It's a multitude of aspects, and a lot of people have touched on some of the points. Another point is the nice guy expectations. There's a fine line between caring for your friends and creepily trying to take care of a girl. The difference is often in the intent. If you are nice to someone for any reason other than, like, common decency and basic care that you would have to any other person, it's creepy, awkward, and heavy with ultimatum. I actually had a situation like this. I witnessed it happening recently. There was this girl at a bar and she was talking about, like, getting out of a breakup and being really in just, like, a low place and everything going horribly, and this guy felt the need to, like, jump in and really push the, like, if there's anything you need, I'm here for you. Like, he was like, oh, we could go out, I could distract you, I could even come over and, like, cook you some food if you don't want to leave your house, and, like, they barely knew each other, and it was very, like, like, you could feel the discomfort on the girl's face. Like, she was dealing with it awesome, like, she handled it like a champ, but the discomfort was definitely there. Not knowing your audience. Whether something is inappropriate or not depends a lot on where you are and who you're with. Something that would be totally appropriate with your buddies can be inappropriate in a mixed social situation. For example, my brother-in-law shared a story about a woman who used her own personal yeast, I'll let you guys figure that out, to brew beer. Would have been an interesting story for some friends at the bar. However, it was super fucking creepy at the annual family reunion. Not being able to tell what isn't appropriate is creepy. I have definitely made this mistake in the past, not this bad in a situation like this, but just not fully knowing my audience. I think if you actually put effort into it, you will notice people's responses, and you have to tell yourself that it's not their fault that they didn't like your joke. It is your fault that you choose to tell that in front of this group of people. Just, yeah, you can live and learn through this one. Alright, I almost scrolled right past this one, but this one is really good. Acting like you know each other well when you first met. This is also something I've struggled with a tiny bit in the past. I've seen other people struggle with it as well. Like, being over familiar with somebody and acting like you're best buds, and maybe, like, crossing certain boundaries, telling them certain things that you, like, should only tell a close friend. Like, all of those things will come off as creepy and off-putting, at best annoying. Repeatedly calling us beautiful and comparing us to other women we know. Sure, it's cute if you're already in a relationship, but when you're not, it's actually really creepy. Especially if it's multiple times in one day. Edit, since this has blown up more than I thought it would, I'll provide some backstory. This is based off of something that really happened to me. The guy is what most people would consider attractive. Tan skin, dark hair, started out really nice, went to the gym a lot. But he wouldn't stop saying how beautiful I was and compared me to my coworkers. Kept trying to buy me gifts, it made me extremely uncomfortable and I felt creeped out. Okay, I will just say that flat out, when you start comparing someone to other people in terms of attractiveness, it's almost never going to come off nicely, especially if those people are, like, your friends or coworkers. Like, it's just not a good look. And, like, the repeatedly calling someone beautiful, guys, you gotta know that, like, when you call someone beautiful, you're pretty much shooting your shot, and based on their reaction, like, if they aren't flirting back or, like, giving you really strong signs that, like, they're interested in some type of way, you should probably slow down on giving them more compliments. Not respecting boundaries, not listening, and not treating you like an equal human being are my top 3 red flags. Respecting boundaries mean they don't invade your personal space, common rules of society are followed, and they don't keep pushing to touch/interact/initiate conversation or relationship. If you are hovering around me trying to distance me from safety or my friends, keep staring at me, following me after I say no, etc., you are a creep to me. I sense danger and am uncomfortable with this. Stop touching me, no hugging, get away. Listening is a crucial skill in general, but tells me whether or not I want to be near you or if you respect me. Not listening or treating my opinions as valid means you are probably not someone who understands no and may try to manipulate or hurt me. I am not a piece of meat, a potential lay, or someone's property. Respect me as your equal and human. The scariest creeps don't seem to see you as human, you are their object, something to chase. A fourth that isn't always the case is a lack of social awareness or being oblivious of social rules, as it can lead to uncomfortable misunderstandings or much worse when combined with the other 3. I think that all 3/4 of these are good. I especially like the equal human being thing, and I would even, like, elaborate on that. I'm gonna pretend to know what women think right now, so just hear me out real quick. But, like, I think that in addition to not being treated like a piece of meat or someone's property, people in general also don't want to be put on a pedestal or seen as something, like, greater than a regular person, or, like, when people will, like, treat women like they're, oh, you're so much better than men, like, women are so great, like, that can also come off as weird, like putting someone on a strange pedestal. And this is just to all the dudes out there. You might not agree with all of these things being universally creepy. You might have some opinions on this. But the fact of the matter is that everything that was written about in this thread is something that has made a real person creepy. So while it might not apply in every situation, these are just some people's experiences so that you can know what might come off as creepy to other people. So if you want to watch some more of my videos, or you just want to like fall asleep to this content, I'll put a playlist of every video that I've ever made that's like half decent. It's like 670 videos or something crazy like that. It's going to pop up in the top right corner of your screen. Click on it if you're interested. With that said, I'd like to give a major shout out to Hannah, Matthew Kendall, Caitlin, Beth the Dork, Ashton Jacobson, June, Rocket Fist Rick, Alicia, Kennedy DeSilvis, Tay Hyper Ninja Child, Jared D, Regrettable Stitches, Allison B, Kaya Bay, Brittany, and Catco, as well as everyone else you see on your screen for being top tier channel members. Thank you guys very much. Hope you're all doing super well, skating on to the best of your abilities at drinking a sufficient amount of water, and I'll see you super soon. Peace out, Cub Scouts. Later, skaters.